Hey everybody, good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's Paula Kettula here. I am a licensed clinical social worker, play therapist, child therapist, work with families, and I am also a transformational parent coach. And I have been having a heavy heart lately because of what's going on in the world. So, right now, in case you're watching this video way later, we are in a situation in this world where Russia has invaded Ukraine. We are getting a lot of footages of really chaos and terror, people fleeing, people getting hurt, people getting killed. And when this is happening in the world, my heart and my thoughts always go out to children and how are children actually coping with all this information that is happening. Even though my recommendation for you as a parent is to protect the children as much as possible from any exposure to news. So that would be my advice number one, to do what you can to prevent them from seeing any horrible images, repeated images, just because kids process things a little differently. They are so young, they don't have all the life experience where they'd be able to put things in the context, right? So oftentimes when children are exposed to terrible images, they might be thinking that, oh my goodness, it's happening right down the street. They don't realize that it's all the way on the other side of the world. Or they might be thinking like if there's a repeated image that is happening, that is something that is happening all the time, even though in reality it might be just one time event. So I've been on a mission for the past several days to bring some tools and resources and information for parents that can really support and help you to help your child process what's going on. I mean, it's really hard for us. Can you imagine how hard it is for children? I'm also a trauma expert. So, one thing that we know about trauma is that it gets to be processed. The mind body system needs to process whatever the terrible, stressful, overwhelming, traumatic event is. Like, I literally work with people. I think my oldest client, he's 85 years old, and his trauma happened when he was in his 20s. It was never diagnosed, never processed, never dealt with. So he was dealing with these symptoms of post traumatic stress all his life, all his life. So, one way that we can really trauma proof kids and create trauma resiliency, like Peter Levine talks about, is helping them process the information. And we got to remember that children process information in a different way. Like adults, what might be helpful for us is to talk about it, just to share our feelings and our experiences. My friend was here visiting me last night, and we just talked about what's going on. And, we cried and we laughed, and, we were worried, and then we were silly. And it felt so much better after that, after we had really talked about that. But that's the adult way. For children, they need extra support, maybe art or movement, and play is especially supportive for children to process through trauma. So if you notice that your child might be, maybe they are more anxious, maybe they have hard time sleeping at night, maybe they are a little bit more aggressive, even those could be just signs that they are just picking up on what's going on in the world right now. They might have been exposed to some bad news already that really scared them, or they are also picking up from how you are responding and what your energies is like. So, important thing for you as a parent is to just stay calm, stay neutral, take care of yourself. That's really the number one thing. Eat well, sleep well, have your own support system that you can talk to about these things that are really worrisome, because it's the unknown. I know one of the greatest fears for parents is like, what is the world going to be like where my child grows up? So a lot of worries are happening right now, and yes, it is scary, and we get to honor and feel those scary feelings as well. And we get to support our children in doing so as well. And you as a parent need to be also comfortable with uncomfortable feelings. And that's really the only way that we can resolve trauma and process trauma. And we know that it is best to do this as soon as possible, not to delay it. Like I shared my client's experience many, many years later, he was still experiencing those trauma symptoms because he just didn't know. He didn't know what was going on. But we know better and we have the tools and the information. So I want to share this tool with you. It's called Good News and Bad News, where you can really use some art therapy and the safety of your relationship and the safety of your calm demeanor to help kids talk about bad news. And it's good news and bad news because the way things work in our nervous system is like we have two different kinds of neural networks. We have neural networks that are related to negative experiences, all the yucky stuff, all the bad things, all the traumas that we've experienced, all the hurts, all the scary situations, all the situations we might have gotten really, really stressed out. So think about it. It's like they are in one neural network. There's several of them, several neural networks, but that's just like one stream of networks, the negative network. Okay. And then we also have positive neural networks. So we also have memories and experiences where we've felt confident, we have felt empowered, we have felt in control, we have felt that we got this, and we have felt a sense of mastery. So as children are growing up, they actually, it's kind of, think about these different neural networks as little file folders in a computer, like folders, like there's one in negative neural networks and positive neural networks. So one way that we process trauma is when these two neural networks connect. When the negative things can connect with the positive things. Let's say a child is learning to ride a bicycle and they are falling down a lot and they are falling down a lot and it's hurting and they are scraping their knees, and they've also had some positive experiences of being able to ride the bike for a little while longer and being able to keep their balance. So that's what helps them get back on the bike, because they remember that, like, yeah, you know what, I did do that, I was able to ride it. So the negative and the positive ones connect. Now, sometimes what happens when, especially if there's been repeated stressful situations, repeated trauma, where these two neural networks are completely disconnected, they don't communicate with each other. This is where therapy becomes really helpful. Even EMDR therapy. I'm an EMDR therapist. I do it with children and adults, so that a bridge can be built again between those neural networks, so that the positive and negative connect. So the exercise today, it's really about building that bridge between the positive and negative neural networks. The other thing that we can do, and I'll talk about this in another video, where we can strengthen the positive neural networks. Maybe there are not that many experiences where the child feels like they've had a sense of mastery, or they feel really confident or good about something that has happened. So then we get to resource them. So that's also important part of trauma work, is to help the child have some inner resources. Okay. So here is my activity. Let me share my screen and see if I can make it happen here. There we go. Okay, I think you should be seeing that. You see this Good News TV. So yeah, let me start with this. So basically, what this is to help the child express good news and bad news, right? So we have, this is a document that I've done on Google Slides, Google presentation. So I have one TV here that has the good news, and then another TV here that has the bad news, right? So the idea here is that you invite the child to this activity. You always invite them. You never force things on the child. like, hey, there's been lots of bad news going on. And one thing that can really make us feel better if we can kind of talk about them or express how we feel inside. And I'm wondering if you would want to do this good news, bad news with me. And then you would do this together with your child. So the cool thing with the Google Slides is that you can do this virtually, for example. Like you could and you can do this with any family member. Let's say you have a nephew or something that is living in another state, or like my nephew, he's adult now, but he's living in Finland. You could do this virtually, and then I will also show it to you how to do it. Also, you can print out this same thing, and then the child would just draw. So you would start with the good news. So in these Google Slides, you could just like, okay, what are some good things that have happened to you lately? What are some good news you have? And as you can see, I put a little picture of like a Disney castle. Maybe, you know, the child had like gone, maybe you had taken them to Disney World, and that's what they say. And get them lit up by like, what was your favorite part? What was really fun? And like really help them dive in deep into talking about it. So we are lighting up that positive neural network, okay? And then put some other ones here too. So then they might say, you know, good news is that we got a little puppy. And maybe they say, maybe they want to put a video here. You could even do that. So you can go here, insert, you can do video, and then you can search puppy, and let's see what comes up. We can just take this one, for example, cute little puppies. It's going to come up like that. Okay. And then you can just size it and put it wherever you want. There we go. And then here you can put the timer here. Let's say we just want to have 1 minute. So they are creating a collage here. So then they can click on that. Let's see if this is working. I don't know if you will hear the sound, but then you can see cute puppies. Okay, audio is muted. Cute puppies going down the slide. And how fun is that? You know, now you are now you are helping them really get into laughter as well. And laughter is like so good, releases stress and releases all kind of endorphins in the brain and all that good stuff. So then you would put as many things here as you want. Okay. And then you would introduce the bad news part too. Okay. So then here you would put like, you know what? In life, we also have bad news. What are some bad or sad news that have happened to you? Let's put them here too. If the child is like kind of resistant, they don't want to do this, you know, you could even say something like, let's just, you know, we don't have to talk about the bad news for very long. Let's put the timer for 1 minute, or even start with 30 seconds, and let's just work on this bad news part for 30 seconds. So I put here a lost cat. I put fighting there. You can then also, maybe they want to insert an image. So the way you insert an image, you can do search the web. And let's say there was an argument they talk about. And let's see, some kind of so now we have all kinds of pictures here that come up, that there's this kind of maybe the parents were arguing, and that was kind of stressful for the child. So then you would talk about that, and that's okay. That's totally normal. Arguments happen, but those are very stressful things for kids. So then you would have the child like, don't keep them here very long. You just kind of talk about it. How did that make you feel? And have them talk about it a little bit again. If they're really resistant, just do it for 30 seconds, you know, and then you go back here. You can actually go back and forth. Is another idea, is maybe do one good news, one bad news, let's do another good news, another bad news. So see how you're going between the neural networks, and that is actually creating the bridge. You always, always, always want to end here. So once you've done good news and bad news, you want to end at the good news. So then you would have lots of different pictures here, perhaps. And you would like, look at all the good news that you've experienced in your life. And then you talk about each of them again. And let's really take it all in. Let's take a deep breath, smelling the flower, blowing the candle out the mouth. One more time, deep breath, smelling the flower. Exhale out the mouth, blowing the candle. Okay, so now you help them end at this positive place, and you've helped them process the bad news as well. One more note that I want to say here is, like, don't suggest anything. Just let them, let them come up with their own stuff. They could come up with some silly little things that feels like, oh, that's not really a big deal. But you know what? We get to honor that it is a big deal for them. So this is a super cool exercise you can do digitally. And let me see if I can, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, share my screen with the PDF. Let me see. Okay, let me stop the screen share here, and then I'm going to share again. And I am going to show you how the PDF looks like. Okay, there we go. Whoa, it's super big. Okay, let me see if I can well, you get an idea. So this is a PDF then that you can actually print out, and you can they can draw on this. So instead of using the digital format, you can have them draw the good news and bad news. The idea is the same, kind of going back and forth between them, pendulating, creating that bridge, and always ending up in the good news, because we want them to feel really grounded, and we want them to feel like really calm and relaxed. And if you see that they are really getting super stressed out, then do 20 seconds here in the bad news. Or you might want to stay away from the activity at that moment, because they might be just having some other things and stressors going on. Or if you feel like, okay, well, I might need some professional guidance and help here, then reach out to me, or reach out to any another therapist. Out to myself. My email is paula@transformationalparent.com. paula@transformationalparent.com. Please email me if you have any questions. Come check out my Facebook. The Facebook handle is Transformational Parent. You can also find me on Instagram. My Instagram is transformational_parent. I'm sure you can find me there. And of course, I'm here on YouTube and Facebook as well. So stay tuned, stay connected. I'm committed to this work, and let's help our kiddos right now to get through these difficult times, as the world is facing a lot of hatred and a lot of uncertainty. I do believe that it is each of us have our individual responsibility to create peace. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to resolve the Russia-Ukraine crisis, but what I can do is create peace, love, joy, connection, and compassion, understanding every single day in my sphere of influence, the way that I am showing up in this world. And that in and of itself already feels super empowering. And I want to remind you that you matter, you are important. The influence you have on your child is absolutely tremendous. So pour into them, pour a lot of love and positivity, understanding into them right now, and it'll help them grow up very strong and resilient. Okay, that's what I have for you today, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.